Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to step onto the front porch of someone truly special, Mabel Rose, a woman who has lived through 108 summers. And let me tell you, she's got some powerful, and yeah, maybe controversial wisdom to share about living a long, strong life. What she eats, it pretty much flips decades of official health advice right on its head.
And yeah, let's just start right there. With that quote, you get a real sense of where Mabel's coming from. It's not just that she found the official advice, unhelpful. She believes it was flat out harmful. This defiant spirit, it's really the foundation of her entire philosophy on life. 108. Just let that number sink in for a second. Mabel Rose was born in 1918, the same year the Spanish flu swept across the entire globe. I mean, think about it. She's been a quiet observer through this incredible, unbelievable sweep of history.
So what are these rules? What's her secret? We're about to dive into the simple, powerful principles that have guided her through more than a century of fads and, well, constantly shifting science. Her rules aren't complicated, not at all, but they are 100% her own.
So before we jump right into her list of 7 essential foods, you gotta understand where she's coming from. This isn't stuff she read in some book or saw on the news. Nope, this is wisdom she earned by just paying attention for over a century.
And this right here, it's the perfect example of her worldview in action. For Mabel, there's this really hard line between what's real food and what she just calls poison. She vividly remembers when doctors were telling everyone, eat margarine, something she saw as a factory product, instead of natural fats like, butter or bacon grease.
Okay, so with that defiant philosophy in mind, let's get to the good stuff, the real heart of her advice. These are the 7 foods that Mabel Rose has literally built her life on, the staples that have fueled her for over 100 years.
All right, first up is a daily ritual that, it might surprise you, especially with all the health warnings we've heard over the years. Strong black coffee. It's been a non-negotiable part of her morning routine since she was just 15 years old.
And this quote, man, this really gets to the core of how she thinks. Her whole thing is that the stress and anxiety we build up about food could be way more dangerous than the food itself. To her, coffee isn't some vice, it's a gift, packed with antioxidants.
Her second food is something she calls, and I love this, God's candy. We're talking berries of any kind, blackberries, raspberries, whether they're fresh off the bush or frozen. For her, it's a natural source of sweetness, not that jittery, nervous sweet you get from processed white sugar.
Mabel's dad passed down this really simple piece of wisdom to her. The medicine is in the color. And isn't it funny? Because modern science now has a fancy name for it, polyphenols. These are the powerful compounds that give berries their brilliant colors, and they're the exact same things researchers are now studying for their anti-aging properties. Next up, we've got what Mabel calls her smart woman's brain food, fatty fish. And look, she's not necessarily talking about expensive, fancy salmon. For most of her life, this just meant simple, affordable sardines straight out of the can. See, for Mabel, the #1 priority is feeding your brain, which, is mostly fat. She argues that getting those good oils like EPA and DHA to keep your memory sharp is so much more important than worrying about trace contaminants. Her quote on this is just perfect. I tell you to worry about forgetting your own grandbaby's names. Give me the fish.
All right, number 4 on her list. This one was probably one of the most controversial foods of the last half-century. Eggs, and more specifically, that golden yolk that we were told for decades would clog up our arteries.
Oh man, you can just feel the frustration in that quote, can't you? For Mabel, throwing away the yolk was just throwing away the best part. The powerhouse of the egg. It's loaded with choline for your brain, lutein for your eyes, and she has 2 every single morning, usually fried in bacon grease.
Number 5. Okay, this one's gonna challenge a lot of modern dietary trends. Red meat. But she's really specific about this. It has to come from a cow that actually saw sunlight and ate grass. A machine, as she says, for turning grass into strength. Look, she sees red meat as this fundamental source of strength, of energy. It provides these crucial nutrients like iron and B12 that, in her own words, you just can't get from kale chips that taste like cardboard. Her 6th food is something her generation just called live food. Today, we have a fancier name for them. Fermented foods. We're talking things like pickles, sauerkraut, and real, traditional buttermilk. And her metaphor here is just so powerful, isn't it? It really gets to why these foods matter so much. Your gut is a garden.
These live foods put the good bugs back in, helping that garden thrive. And for Mabel, a happy belly is the absolute foundation for a happy life. And now for her final food. This one, it really feels like her secret weapon, raw cacao. Now, she's not talking about the sugary milk chocolate you find at the checkout counter. She means the bitter, powerful powder that she describes as tasting like dirt and magic. So, cacao has this compound called PQQ, and Mabel's way of explaining it is just brilliant. She sees it as something that tells her body to make new spark plugs for her cells. It's a fascinating way to think about it, because mitochondrial health is a huge focus of longevity research right now. And hey, like she says, at 108, you need all the fire you can get, right? But then, right after she shares this amazing list of 7 foods, Mabel hits us with a twist. A big one. She says they're only part of the story. They're essential for sure, but they're just the fuel. They are not the engine.
And honestly, this might be the most important piece of wisdom she shares. Without a healthy, vibrant spirit, no diet in the world is going to save you. She truly believes that if your heart is full of bitterness and anger, you'll just rot from the inside, no matter how clean your diet is.
And that brings us to her final and maybe her most profound piece of advice. It's this simple little shift in perspective that she believes changes absolutely everything about how we live our lives.
And that right there, that's her ultimate secret. Stop chasing a long life. Chase a good one. Her message is so simple. Focus on having a good day. Forgive someone. Find something to laugh about. Be grateful. In her experience, if you take care of the quality of your days, well, the quantity of your years just might take care of itself.